Welcome back, you guys. We are on day 2 of our pepper journey, and today we have to deal with the rest of the poblanos that we did not use in our hot pepper mix. So I'm going to be making some poblano cream enchiladas. So I'm starting by boiling some chicken. I have approximately 2 pounds of chicken in this water. I'm going to start by, it's already been boiling for about 5 minutes. So I'm going to skim off all of this foam from this chicken. Then we are going to cover this and let it boil for another 20 minutes. Almost forgot, we need to add our onion. And I'm also going to add 2 cloves of garlic and let this boil for 20 minutes. Our chicken is done and it is at temperature. It is over 165. So now I'm going to pull it out and just set it on this plate because I'm going to need it to cool for a while, because the next step for the chicken is shredding it. And I also, if I feel like I need more meat in the sauce, I may add a little bit of our turkey that we had that I have left over. We also want to save and reserve 2 cups of this broth. And when I save the broth, I'm going to, in that 2 cups, try to get all the onion and garlic out of there, because I want that in my mixture when I do my poblano sauce. So right now we're going to let this chicken sit here and cool. We're going to take this off the stove, or off the heat, and in this pan here I'm using jasmine rice. You can use whatever form of rice you want, and it's 4 cups of water to 3 cups of rice. And I also put in 2 tablespoons of butter. Once this comes to a boil, I'm going to reduce it to a low simmer and let that cook for 5 minutes. And then the next step that we're going to do, I have to take you over this way. Okay, so the next thing that we're going to do is we are going to roast our poblanos. Different people do it different ways. You can take the stem off and de-seed them before you do your roasting. I'm going to leave them this way because I'm thinking that leaving them this way, they won't dry out. But I feel like if they're open, you're going to lose some of that juice, and that's just my thought. So the original recipe calls for 5 to 7 poblanos, but mine are smaller. So I doubled mine up, and I'm doing like 14 of them. Actually, I think I have 15 on here. But you need a certain amount for your sauce, and then you also want a couple extra for either in the filling or on top, or both. So we're going to put these here, and we're going to keep turning them every so often until they look charred. And then we'll take that next step after that. So I'll just have to keep an eye on them. I've never done this before, so I know what it's supposed to look like, and I'm going to time it and see how long I need to have it on either side to let you guys have an idea of the time variation. And you can do this on the grill. You can do it on a griddle. You can do it on your gas stove. You can do it however you want to roast them. You can do it in the oven. We just love all things smoked, and I want to try it in the smoker, see if it works. Okay, it's been a little over 5 minutes. We're going to check on these. You can see they're starting to get a little bit blistered. They're just starting. So we're going to leave them on this side for a little while. And while they're still working, yeah, they're not ready to be turned yet, but they're starting to blister a little bit. But not near where we need them. So while that's working, I'll check them in another 5 minutes. We're going to go inside and start some prep work. While those peppers are roasting, we have some prep work we need to do. We need to get our chicken shredded, and it calls for shredded cheese. I don't particularly like using the shredded cheese in the grocery store. I like shredding my own because there is a lot of additives in the shredded cheese to keep it from spoiling. So this, I am using mozzarella. You can use any form of melting cheese that you prefer, but I like mozzarella because it has a good melting ratio. So I'm going to cut this into a couple portions that are easier to handle, and then I'm going to get this all shredded up. You could get out your food processor and do it with a food processor, but this shreds fairly easily, so I'm just going to do it by hand. By the time we're done with this chicken and this cheese, I'm thinking that those poblanos will be about ready to turn over. Got our cheese shredded, and I shredded just a little bit extra in case I needed extra. Now we're going to get in here and we're going to do our chicken. This is another thing you can also do in your food processor if you want to, or a blender. But I just like getting in here with my hands. That way if there's any gristle or anything like that, I can feel that, I can pick it out and get that taken care of. So I'm going to get this nice and shredded, and then I'll probably chop it a little bit so it's not in long strings and it's a little bit more of a chunkier texture. All right, we're at approximately 20 minutes, and I do have this set at 300. We're going to turn these. They are starting to char a bit, and you can tell that they're soft. They're getting softer. Okay, we'll see about another 10 minutes and we'll look at them again. Okay, now we're getting somewhere. At 20 minutes after I talked to you guys, I had Tom come out here and he turned up the heat to 350. And now we're starting to see a little bit more of that charring going on. We're going to flip these again. Oh, that one's looking really good. This right here is kind of what you're looking for. They're getting nice and soft. It probably takes longer on the smoker than if you were to be doing it on an open flame. But that's okay. I really want that smoke flavor. So we're at 30 minutes right now. We're going to continue letting these go. I'll check them again in another 5 minutes. And inside we've got the chicken shredded, we've got the cheese grated, the rice is ready, and the broth from boiling the chicken is also ready. So once these are ready, we can really start rolling. Let's check on those peppers. Oh yeah, there we go. Now you can see we're getting a nice char on these peppers. They really have to look blistery before they're ready. Because you need to peel that, be able to peel all of that right off of them. Like this here. This is a perfect example of what they're going to look like. All bubbly, kind of black looking. They still have a little bit to go. Not much though. On the stove, I've got some canola oil in a pan, and I'm getting that heated up so we can put our corn tortillas into, I had to make sure it was corn tortillas. I got the blanco ones. You can use the yellow corn tortillas, but every time I try to go folding those, for some reason they want to try to crack on me. So I'm going to try these ones. But we do need to put them in the oil first. So once that gets up to temperature, we'll start doing that. And in here, in a previous episode, if you took some sweet corn and with butter and herb sauce and grilled them on the grill. Tom, did we do those on the grill or in the smoker?
Smoker.
The smoker. It was the smoker. Great flavor. We're going to add some corn to these enchiladas also. That's just about thawed out. We're going to give that a couple more minutes. And we're not quite up to temperature yet on these tortillas. Okay, our oil is nice and bubbly. I took a tortilla and set it in there to see if it would start bubbling, and it did. Now you put this in. And you're not going to leave this in for very long. You're just going to wait till it starts to get a little bubbly. You're going to turn it over and wait for it to do the same thing on the other side. That's all you want. Then you're going to take it out and put it on a paper towel and continue doing that with the rest of your tortillas. See how that bubbles up like that? Turn it. And it'll start bubbling again on the other side. And then just let it drain a little bit. And place it on your paper towel. I'm going to do 10 of these, just to make sure I have enough. I'm not sure how many right now are going to fit in my pan. We're on our last tortilla, and then we're going to go out and check those peppers again. Let's cover this up. I'm going to let this rest for a minute. And take this off the heat. Okay, I think we're pretty well ready on these. We're going to get these out of the smoker. Alright, we're going to need to let these cool off for a few minutes till I can touch them, and then we'll start working on these. Alright, we we almost forgot a really important step. As soon as you take them off the heat, you need to put them into some kind of a bag, preferably like a plastic bag or in a casserole dish, covered tightly. Whatever it is, it needs to not let any air escape. These need to steam for 15 minutes. Okay, that was a near disaster. Well, it was a disaster. Don't do the poblanos on a smoker. You need the bubbles, the charring from the bubbles, and the smoker. If they were on the smoker too long, dried them out. I tried to do the charring on the stove to save them, and they didn't have enough moisture left in them. So after you do that quick char on a open flame, and then you take them off and you put them in a sealed container, that softens that skin, and then you're able to peel that skin right off. Mine were too dried out. I wasn't able to peel off that skin, so I lost all those poblanos. So that was a huge disaster for me. So I had to go in my pantry and see how we can try to save the situation, because we have everything else ready. In my pantry I have some Hatch green chili sauce from New Mexico. I still have my corn. We're going to put that delicious corn in here. Mix that in. Then I'm going to mix in that chicken. And we will try that again. I may have to buy some poblanos. I don't know if I'll get any more off of my poblano plant this season, but...
Oh, you got a ton of them out there.
What, Tom?
There's a ton of them out there.
Okay, there's still a ton of them out there, so we can try this again. And I think we'll leave them on the plant until we'll see how big they can get before we take them off. We're going to mix this all in here just to coat it. And I think I'll add a can of regular enchilada sauce, because I also wanted to put the rice in here and I don't have enough sauce to cover this mixture. So let's get a can of regular enchilada sauce. So we're going to add just some regular mild enchilada sauce. And then I'm also going to grab that rice. I'm going to turn my oven on right now to 350. We're going to start that oven at 350. Okay, let's see what we need here. We need to taste this. Definitely needs some seasoning. It's got a little zing to it from the Hatch. We're going to give it a little bit of salt. I had already pre-measured out some allspice and cumin. We're going to put that in there. That was going to be for the other recipe, so might as well put in there since it's already out. Just throw in a little bit of pepper. And how can you have any kind of a dish without some cilantro? Let's get this chopped up. This was going to go in the blender, so I wasn't worried about chopping it. Sometimes you just have to make the best out of a bad situation. Just because something didn't work out the way that you anticipated it would, come up with another idea. And who knows, this might just be even better than what I was going to make. I was very excited to be using my poblanos though, but there's another day for that. Just because something didn't work doesn't mean it was a failure. You just try something else. All right, let's get this in there. Let's get this stirred up. Okay, let's taste this again. That's better. Okay, now we're going to take this over to the table and we're going to assemble this. And we're going to decide if we want to do a casserole, an enchilada casserole, or if we want to do just enchiladas. I have chosen to go with the enchilada casserole. I'm going to use a deeper dish, and we're going to take these tortillas that we did right here. First I'm going to put down a little bit of sauce. I don't need a lot. And then we are going to lay down these tortillas. I am going to cut these dry a little bit more. They're overlapping in the pan on the one side, and then the other ones I'm going to cut in half. You want to get rid of any excess oil. Cut these in half, and then we're going to take some of this sauce and put it over those enchiladas. I will probably be able to go about 3 deep on this. I want to smooth this out. Then we're going to layer it with some cheese. And then we're going to go in with some more tortillas. And some more of the meat mixture. I want to use a good half of this mixture on this round. So I'm just going to do this. And instead of trying to spoon it one little spatula at a time. Get it nice and even. A little bit more cheese. Now when you're doing this layer of cheese, you want to make sure that you still leave plenty for your top layer. And now we are going to do one more round of the tortillas. One more round of the meat. And top it off with the rest of the cheese. And then I'm going to put this in the oven for 35 to 40 minutes until the top is, that cheese is melted and it's getting a little golden and your sides are bubbly. And then we'll have to see how it tastes. All right, you guys, our casserole is ready to come out of the oven. Turn off that timer and let's see what she looks like. Oh, isn't that beautiful? Okay. There it is. It's nice and bubbly on the outsides and nice and golden brown on the top. We'll take that out. I'm going to set it down on the heating pads and we need to let it sit for at least 10 minutes. All right. We have waited the 10 minutes, so now we are going to cut into this. Ooh, nice and cheesy. The one thing I did think of was when I was layering that meat sauce, I could have taken and poured a little bit more enchilada sauce over that meat sauce to make it a little bit creamier. But we'll see how this turned out. I know it's going to be very filling. There's quite a bit in there. Oh, look at that. Isn't that beautiful? And hot. So we may not have needed that extra sauce. Okay, let's take a taste test. Very good. Very good indeed. Highly recommended. So my original recipe was a disaster, but this turned out very well. So We still got to use up some of our corn that we had in the freezer. And I also had made some omelets. Not omelets, but what did Tom make this weekend? We put together some quesadillas for breakfast. We made some breakfast quesadillas, and we sauteed up some onion and poblano and garlic in on the stove, and then we mixed that in with some scrambled eggs for each person. So I still had some of that onion poblano mixture. So I did get a little bit of my poblanos in here, but it wasn't what I was searching for. And I got to use up a couple cans in my pantry that I really needed to be used up. And this is delicious, and it's going to feed us for several days. So, like I said, if you think something's a disaster, just think for a second and see what you can do to turn it around. And oftentimes it just turns into something amazing that you didn't think you could do. So this week we're going to be working on using up leftovers. So I have several other things that I need to get used up. So we are going to work on that together this week. So along with saving our disaster, we also got those peppers pickled. This is Tom's super hot mix of his pickled peppers, and it just turned out beautifully. So we're very excited about that. He will try those probably in about 4 weeks. We'll open one of these up and see how they are. We have a feeling they're going to be very hot. So we'll see what we can come up with next. Take care, and we'll see you on the next video.